Magic is what happens when peace is near.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Season 8 of Enlightened Conversations. This season we're diving into all things 7D consciousness, what it is, what it isn't, and how it shows up in our everyday life. I'll also be sharing concepts from my new book, Pieces of Science, towards a unified peace theory, as we explore the fascinating overlaps between spirituality, human behaviour, consciousness, and how we can integrate more peace into our lives. So, without further ado, let's dive in.
You're here, together we are clear.
Hi everyone, it's Michelle Lightworker here, and welcome to episode 11 of our podcast series on 7D consciousness. I'm super excited today because we're all about getting practical, babes. We're getting practical. Let's put all the things that we've learned over the previous episodes into action. And so today I'm joined by our regular panel, Leanne Barefoot Medium, Chris Childs, Karen Andrews Roberts, Sathiavanni, and of course Willow Roberts. Thank you again, my wonderful ladies, for joining me and in this exploration of 7D consciousness. And it's been a wild ride. And here we go to explore what 7D consciousness actually looks like when we're navigating work, family, technology, challenges, and ordinary moments. Today, we're going to explore the practical ways to embody greater presence, coherence, and awareness, so that higher consciousness becomes not just something we discuss, but it becomes our new normal. It becomes something that we live. All right, so our first question today that we're asking all our panel is, how can listeners stay present and grounded daily? And first up, we've got Willow Roberts.
Well, you need to do your grounding exercise. I don't do it so much anymore because I know Creator's got it. If something happens, I go, Creator, take care of it. And I just know that it's going to happen. But when you're starting off, you really need to ground yourself a lot. And I said that with, the roots of the trees going around your feet and anchoring you to the ground. But it's enabling you to have that moment of being present and going, okay, I'm going to connect into the seventh plane. I do that always morning of night, but I talk 24/7 to the Creator. So it's you learning that person that you're thinking to is there whenever you want and need and help.
Yeah, we really need that willingness, that intention to invite that presence in, whatever that is, to connect with our higher self, to connect with Creator, to connect with the field, to invite that openness into us and to really earth it somehow. Breathe down into our feet, stomp on the ground, lay on the ground, visualize yourself a tree, all the beautiful things that can help to really bring that into our bodies, not just our intention up here, but into our hearts and into our bodies. Next up, we've got Leanne.
Present and grounded daily is integrate a daily energy practice. And that might be simply being more mindful and present to how you get out of bed. Is it put both feet on the ground consciously and present to it and saying, I'm grounded, I am present, I'm grounded, I am present. And taking that moment to slow down and be really present to your breath. One of the things when we're not grounded and not present is we can have really short breath. So, and we can breathe or be taking more of the external in than the internal. So it's about being more internally focused and slowing that breath down.
Yeah, and I also think like when you wake up in the morning, sometimes you need different things. Like it's really good to have like a grounding routine to get to know what you need to earth yourself and to bring those higher frequencies in, right? But then over time, it might be, I need more sleep this morning, or I need to meditate this morning, or I need to write that song down that's coming through this morning, or I really need to write that dream down, and there are all these ways that your navigation towards a higher consciousness are beckoning you or assisting you. So initially it's wonderful just to have a simple practice of breathing or meditating or grounding into your feet. And then over time, as you get to know yourself, those things evolve, those cues evolve, and you learn your own map to grounding and higher awareness integration. All right, let's move on to Chris.
Well, it often begins with simple awareness, noticing your breathing, your surroundings and your reactions through the day, because when people slow down long enough to really observe their thoughts, they'll slow down long enough to, discover that they've got more choice than they realise.
Might sound really simple in practice, that whole just slow down that Chris mentioned, but it's really powerful. If you slow a moment down and you just pause and you go, hang on, I just want to check in with myself. I'm a bit like taking on someone else's feelings here. I'm feeling a bit flooded, or have I been triggered, and just taking that second just to check in, you start to develop a trust with yourself between your higher awareness and your 3D body that is embodying all these energies, and you start to develop a bit of a respect for it. All right, let's move on to Sathiavanni.
Even if you want to get into a bit of a practice, is on a piece of paper, just write, all is well and all will always be well. Stick it on your fridge door, stick it on your bathroom mirror, or, just learn to recite that. All is well and all will be well. Because the good, the bad, and the ugly that happens is there to facilitate for our growth. So ultimately, you're always going to end up on the right path anyway that is being orchestrated. Okay, whatever's been done. Even when you're co-creating and manifesting, you're actually co-creating and manifesting what has been in divine order. So to be in that frame of mind every day is what is going to help. So that is the little affirmation, that mantra, is that all is well and all will be well. Because that then balances the physical body to kind of go, yep, we're talking, yeah, all is good, yep, and allows you to go into that flow. Okay.
Yeah, and funny story, when I was skiing down Andorra and I was going down this really steep hill, and I'm a total greenie, like I don't know skiing that well, and I accidentally found myself going, like, we clocked it later because we had the app, at about 52 kilometers an hour. Oh my God. And I was wobbling and everything's shaking, la 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 la. And I'm going, oh my God, you just got to hold it in your core. You got to be, I was just positive self-talking, all's going to be well, just maintain your balance, keep breathing, don't panic, just breathe. And as I was talking to myself, my body was able to hold better. It was able to not lose it, and I didn't have a catastrophe of an accident. And I really feel for my husband, because he witnessed that whole thing. And at the end of it, he came up to me and said, how do you think you went? And I said, I'm not doing that again. He goes, oh, thank God you noticed. But one thing I would do again is definitely repeat the positive self-talk, because it held me upright, literally. It's very powerful stuff. All is well and all always will be well is a beautiful mantra. We are being held by the field every single moment of the day. All right, let's move on to Karen.
It's choosing practices that help us to feel that each day, centered, grounded. What are the things that you might do that help you to feel that? We're all different things affect us in different ways. For me, I love putting my bare feet on the earth. I love earthing, grounding, being out in nature. That for me is really a really great thing, a really powerful thing for me to do. It centers me. I breathe as I do it. Some people might want to go for a swim. Some people might want to sit on their veranda, have a cup of tea or coffee or whatever it is. It's being consciously aware of how the things we do affect us in this moment. Am I feeling grounded? Am I feeling centered? If not, what could I do that can help me to feel that?
I agree, Karen. It is very different for me every day. Today, I just really wanted to get under the shower. Just the hot water and the beautiful water running on me, and just feel that cleansing. And I actually, in my early days of teaching Lightworker practitioner training, I would tell my students, when you're in the shower, use it to clear all your chakras, feel all the gunk running down the drain. I mean, we do it every day. We have a shower. We might as well take a moment and replenish. And I'm sure Linda would love that one, because she's into water. So in our previous episode, she was talking about how she puts her hands in the water and reads the water. water. And I think that the shower, it's a simple one, but it's so powerful. And add in a few disco lights and colours and fun things in there so that you can feel whatever vibrational frequency you feel like bathing in or absorbing. All right, our next question is, we're moving on now to, how does creative flow influence personal and collective alignment? Here's Linda.
How does creator influences it 100%? Like I'm always tapping into the creator. So everything that I do is done. I don't like having a schedule. Okay. People can't be like that because life gets in the way. So do your things. And a lot of people, when they're trying to be in the spiritual mind and their life's working, they're thinking about what they've got to cook for dinner, when they've got to pick the kids up, or they're thinking about something that happened that morning, and that's really taking you out of the space of being in the now, being omnipresent. So you really need to make sure that when you are going to connect into the creator, that you are in the present moment and that you're clearing your mind. And even if it's 5 minutes, even if the kids are in the bath, no, I can't say that. Oh, there could be somebody else watching them. I was going to say, come out and, yeah, but the kids are busy for 5 minutes watching a video. You just go into that space of just the breath work and the alignment and just going into the now. That is just such, it's such a help to you and your nervous system and connecting you through to the creator. It just helps mind, body and soul.
Now, I think Linda heard, how does creator influence personal and collective alignment, but it was how does creative flow influence personal and collective alignment. However, it does, connecting to that bigger energy or the field, the creator, higher power, higher self, does also affect our personal and collective alignment as well. So that counts. It definitely counts. And as Linda and I have spoken about before, we get more creative when there's less noise and when we are, our nervous system's calm and we have less junk in the way, less trauma, all that. We tend to emerge and our essence starts to overflow, and that becomes a beautiful creative force for both ourselves and also the collective field as well. All right, let's hear from Leanne.
Personal flow, the more of us in flow, the more flow that the universe has, right? Although there's an abundance of that, it's just more of us get into that slipstream. And I'm seeing that Finding Nemo movie, and how they flow through the ocean. It's there. It's available to all of us. It's alignment is already there. It's what's taken you out of it, and what steps do you need to take to come back into it. So the more people in flow, the more joy, the more happy, the more calm, the more harmony there is in globally.
I really love that visual of Finding Nemo in the Australian Eastern Current. That slipstream, it's like, woohoo, they're all flying and they're excited and it's easy. It's like no one's forcing. It's like they've got a free ride, man. And I think creative flow is like that. When we actually align with our creative flow, we shift gears into this stream that we share with everybody else. And not only that, I think it's like a magnet. I think it might pull people into the slipstream as well, which is really cool with their willing, of course. I really love that. It's such a joyful visual, Nemo in that current, in the East Australian Current. I can't remember what they call it now, but yeah. All right, let's hear from Chris.
When someone's engaged in meaningful work, their attention becomes focused and purposeful. And that sense of alignment then tends to influence the people around them as well. So it's creativity, for example, encourages problem solving, innovation, collaboration, and that benefits both the individual and the wider environment. So when you're feeling focused, when you're feeling purposeful, that vibration, that ripple effect will affect others.
It's so true. Like, if you've ever been around someone at work where they're just really like, they've got all these ideas and they're spitting them out, And all of a sudden, you're all getting ideas. It's like, bing, 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 like that whole brainstorming feeds the room and everybody's brains start lighting up. I think mirror neurons have a lot to do with it. I think our collective energy and frequency has a lot to do with it. And I feel like when we hold back on our creative flow, it's a bit like, I don't want to say that because I might seem like a fool, or I might seem silly, it might be a silly idea. But if we go, hey, you know what, this might be a silly idea, but it just occurred to me this, and then just like, who cares if it was silly? You already called it out, it might be silly, but it just removes that stigma from it, and it just puts it out there as an idea that people can take or leave. And also, I found, like, just doing some brainstorming and convos with ChatGPT, non-judgmental pretty much, you just bounce ideas back and forward. That creative flow builds on itself. The more I let out, the more I'm open, and it inspires, and then the more it just goes into this beautiful loop of creative flow. That works for me. All right, let's hear from Sathiavanni.
How it does is the universal current in that frequency, in the seventh dimensional frequency, will pull you in that direction anyway. It was with that pull in that current, it brings further harmony, and in that process, it just clears out all fears. You're just following the current at the end of the day, that you just trust that process and know, you know what, this is all going to be fine. It's going to work out. It's fine. So it is very much, I keep being shown at the moment as I'm saying this, I'm just being shown like a pool of fish all kind of gravitating towards one another, and they're all swimming as a team, and they're all flowing in the current, and they're going together, and everything is just moving smoothly. Okay. So in that energy, beautiful energy frequency, just flow, and he's like, okay, all will be well. And it's like, yep, that's fine. It's okay. It's all right. It's like automatically you just switch what might be a little trigger going, oh my God, no, oh good. You just start going. You just start going. Ensure your senses, everything feels 100%. Oh, yep, all is well. And you just start flow. That's how the effect will be.
Wow, Sathiavanni, have you seen Finding Nemo? My God, that is so cool. Everybody who's listening to this, I recorded these on separate days with separate people. So Sathiavanni was not in the room when we did this question, and Leanne spoke about Finding Nemo, and I just love it that Sathiavanni's picked up on that, or the other way around. Who knows? I can't even remember if I had the interview with Sathiavanni first or Leanne, but I just love that they both got this energy of being in the flow is like that. And as Sathiavanni, you were speaking, I felt it. I felt you were like the little fish flying along. I could feel it in my body. It was so cute. All right, let's hear from Karen.
Creative flow is that moving out of the physical body, the awareness of ourselves in our physical body. It's open, it's expansive, and when we're open and expansive, we are deeply connected to the all. So creative flow is a really important way of us opening and expanding and connecting beyond our physical body.
Yeah, and this is an episode about embodying. So it's interesting that to feel 7D awareness embodied, we need to expand beyond the body too, and bring it back to the body, at least to be open to the expansion beyond the body. That's a really niche point. All right, let us move on to the third question, which is how can technology and media be used consciously? And first up, we've got Linda.
Learning things, asking questions, reading things. Technology is like, when I was in my 20s, I wanted a spiritual teacher. And do you think I could find one? Back then, I was like coming out of the closet telling people I was spiritual, and I was getting... but technology can teach you things. You can read reviews. You can learn about people. You be scrolling, and then something will just... Creator makes it you aware of things. Something will just pop up. It might be a word that puts you to another page for you to go, oh, that's interesting, I might like that. Because when you're passionate about something, you want to learn more and more and more about it. You breathe it in 24/7, and it's just there now. It's available, and it's just so easy to learn whatever you want to learn.
I say just make, media and technology your bitch. Like, just learn as much as you can. Like, allow your higher self to prompt you to what you need to learn. Don't feel like a victim to society or a victim to technology anymore. Say no to that and embody the power within you that says, I have all this information at my feet. I'm not going to waste it. All right, let's talk to Leanne about it.
To transmute energy and information and guidance that helps empower and uplift and bring peace and harmony to support those in need.
Yeah, and I use media and technology to spread my message as much as I can so that I'm actually providing the antidote to society that it needs from the point of view of positivity. All is always well, and we are all connected to something bigger. So you can use it to then be proactive in creating peace. All right, now let's hear from Chris.
Well, it becomes helpful when it's used intentionally rather than automatically. Choose what you consume, limit unnecessary distractions, and probably treat media as a tool for learning and connection rather than just this endless stimulation.
Yeah, I think that when we see media and technology as stimulation, we fall down a rabbit hole. But when we use it proactively and we say, well, no, this is actually really good for me to remind myself of what I need to remember, and we use it in that way to connect and embody higher concepts and 7D awareness, that's when it starts to fill our cup, not deplete us. Okay, now let's hear from Sathiavanni.
How it can be used consciously is go back to the purpose. What is the purpose of society? What is the purpose of media and technology? If you go back, companies that are successful before social media came into play, we had yellow pages, we had newspapers, advertising. That's how companies made it. So in many ways, what is going to be happening is, as a society, media and technology will be reverted back to its pure purpose, so that it doesn't affect humanity in a negative way. So there is no choice anymore. We will be very much going back to basics. How, as a society, and this is where leaders that are being awakened will lead in stipulating how media will be used, how technology will be used to enhance our society in general, especially children.
I'll bring things back to basics, and intent is really an interesting concept. And I mean, we even see it with the social media bans for under 16-year-olds now to protect them from unnecessary exposure to abusive and violations and violence and things like that, and practices where it could be seen to be a negative influence on them. So it's interesting what you're talking about there, Sathiavanni. I think in embodying media and AI consciously, we also need to set limits, and we also need to protect our children for sure. And I think as that evolves and as that awareness evolves, those measures are going to become more, hopefully, in a peace prioritization rather than a violence prioritization. And I do talk about that in Peace as a Science. And I feel that it is an important part of our peace building, is promoting peace consciously. All right, let's hear from Karen.
Technology and media can be used consciously to promote good, to promote joy, to promote health, well-being, to promote connection to ourselves and others. So I believe that it can be used in really, really positive ways that have positive benefits on us all.
Yeah, thanks, Karen, for backing up what I just said. Yeah. Peace promotion, people. Yeah, and all those stabilizers are for peace, such as honesty, open-mindedness, willingness, unity, forgiveness, discipline, love, wholeness, joy, peace, faith. All right, peace is recursive. We're allowed to do that. All right, so what's the fourth question? Here we go. How can relationships serve as ongoing practice for higher consciousness? Oh yeah, juicy. Let's hear from Linda.
Building on them and being, like I've said before, being present. It's really hard to be spiritual and on your path, and the person that you're with or the friends that are around you don't make any sense out of it. And it's really, the hard thing is, and a lot of the questions that we work on through the relationship module is can see people's potential. And so when you're spiritual, and I'm a reflector, I can actually see that person's potential, but it's not reality. And you can't navigate them to have that potential. It's got to be when they're ready. So being spiritual and on your spiritual path, you really need to let people be who they are. They'll tell you who they are. You've just got to listen. And that's when you've got to still your mind and you've got to be present and you've got to listen.
Yeah, and Linda, that's a really good point. Who people are who they are right now. Doesn't mean they're going to be like that forever, but people pleasers and enablers and codependents are addicted to the potential in people. So we have to be really careful. And when you say who they are, they're showing you who they are right now. The 7D awareness perspective is embracing and loving who they are right now without getting intertwined with who they are, and surrounding yourself with people who understand you so you feel validated no matter where you're at. We talk about that in our emergence chapters, in our expansion chapters and awakening chapters, in Peace as a Science. Not everybody's going to understand you, and it's okay that they don't. Don't make yourself better than them, though. All right, here's Leanne.
They are everything. They are everything. We cannot be in the world and not relate to other humans. Humans are made to connect and relate with others. And loneliness is us disconnecting from other humans. And loneliness calls us to relate and to look at how we can connect with self and others in between. So, even money is a relationship. So we have a relationship with everyone and everything. So your relationship with money, are you communicating with it? Are you talking to it? Are you flowing with it? Or are you judging it and speaking down to it and berating it? Or what are you doing with it?
Yeah, and I think the common denominator is us, like no matter what we're relating to, whether it's a person, money, our home, our clothes, our hair, our bodies, the person at the bakery, we are the common denominator. So we are creating our experiences that we need to learn. And so then when we actually own that, nothing's a mistake and everything's a cue. Action, camera, rolling. How are we going to respond? How do we feel about ourselves? What's our trigger? Own it, heal it, and get on with it. Elevate, bring ourselves up to our high vibration. All right, here's Chris.
I think relationships constantly reveal our communication habits and our emotional patterns. So each interaction really offers an opportunity to practice patience, listening, empathizing. In that sense, relationships are probably one of the most effective training grounds for personal awareness. And we always talk about sensory acuity. Like I used to be able to pick when Jack was, about to blow or, relaxed or happy or whatever. And I knew when he'd had enough. So if you are aware, of sensory acuity, you can read people and know when to back off, when to move forward, when to offer help, when to not, when to shut up.
Yeah, we all need to know when to shut up. Next up, Sathiavanni.
Relationships, or the word relationship, it is about interactions, and it is about interconnectedness. It is about exchange of information, knowledge, wisdom. So it is an integral part of our evolution and how information is going to be disseminated. But the information is coming from the purest of source of simplicity is what I'm being given here. Again, it is very much about bringing back the simplicity. It's very much like stark contrast of the excesses of the 80s being stripped away back to that simplicity again. What is real? What is true? That's how relationships are going to affect humanity in a positive way. We want to see the truth. We want to see the real you.
Yeah, Sathiavanni, I agree. In a world where there's a lot of fakery, I think that people are just hungry for authenticity. And I think that being real and keeping it real doesn't necessarily mean that we have to be nasty or just all out, I guess, antagonistic. We can still be real and show our vulnerability and also our process to transformation, so that is an inspiration to others as well in our relationships. So yeah, tough love, I think, is overrated sometimes. We can be gentle and still hold the line. All right, let's hear from Karen.
Oh, relationships, they're so good, aren't they, for helping us evolve if we choose to accept the mission. When we can bring conscious awareness to what is going on in any of our relationships, and if there is something going on that doesn't feel very comfortable, let's take a moment to breathe and to check in with ourselves. What might be going on? Why might we be feeling what we're feeling? Take a moment to become really conscious with that and see what answers can come from that depth of wisdom within us. And when we do that, we can normally change what's happening between us in that relationship that's not feeling comfortable. It doesn't take the other person to change. It takes us to shift something within us.
And you might have already heard of this one, but when you're struggling with that, I almost heard the Mission Impossible music, Karen, when you first started talking. But when we are struggling to connect with a person or resolve something, we can take it into a meditation and have our higher self talk to their higher self to get a greater understanding of their journey and understand of their potentially their wounding and their healing process and their defenses, so that we can connect with them somehow, because that could be something that we really, really, really want, but we can't do it in the physical. So there's a handy tip for you. That has been very helpful to me over the years, that's for sure. All right, so question 5 is, how do we integrate trauma awareness into daily living? Let's hear from Linda.
I think we are. I think that we're there now, that we know because of technology what's going on in the world and what's happening. I don't know about you, but I've only got to see something sad with kids and I'm tearing up. So you just acknowledge how you feel. And sometimes how you feel might come up and it might not be your feelings. And I've said that before. It could be somebody else's. You could be that using your empathic nature and you could be feeling it. That could have happened somewhere to you in your life or a past life. And you're going, why is this making me feel? I think it's asking questions, why it's affecting you, but acknowledging that somebody else has been affected by that trauma and releasing it. In my book, I talked about that when you want to release trauma or something that's happened, and always get professional help. This is just my suggestions. I am not a professional, but, write it down. What happened? How did it make me feel? Who was involved? Use your forgiveness, because unforgiveness just fills up that space, and we're supposed to have a heart that's as light as a feather, and really use the forgiveness and set it up to the Creator, for the Creator to take care of and transmute. It is always going up to the Creator, everything, absolutely everything.
Yeah, I agree. I think society's got it covered, but I also feel like we need to be a bit more peace informed, because if we're trauma informed without being peace informed, we can become a bit lopsided. So, like when we're stuck with our hypervigilance, overthinking, being triggered and protecting ourselves, maybe stuck in survival mode, like always scanning, always analysing, or always identifying triggers and wounds and patterns and harm, we can just like literally be lopsided, because peace isn't denial and it isn't bypassing and it isn't pretending everything's fine. Like peace is the part that helps our nervous system realize I don't have to stay at war forever. So we can focus on our safety and our regulation, on repair, on connection, on joy and humor, on coherence, compassion, purpose and meaning, creativity and play, rest and renewal, and gratitude. Because healing is not only about pain, it's also about learning how to do those other things. So balancing the system out is really super important, I believe, in 7D awareness. And I've created a little poster to help with that on the screen if you're on YouTube. Now let's hear from Leanne.
So a trauma-centered approach is also a strengths-based approach, which is looking at where are your strengths? You know, what have you grown? How have you become more resilient? Where is that resilience that has been built within you? Anger is about showing you what you're passionate about and what you value most in life, and how you can develop those resources and resilience to support yourself and others in the world. So trauma practices in daily life, I would say, come back to self. It's always about coming back to self, and a strengths-based, trauma-based practice is rhythm and movement, whether that's music, whether that's affirmations, whether it's tapping, whether it's moving your body. Do what feels right for you.
Yeah, I love the resourcing component of what you're talking about. How am I filling my cup? And also, how am I promoting my strengths and focusing on those? Because that's where the real healing and the real remedy and the real healing balm is the truth of who we are, and allowing that in and allowing that out. Okay, let's hear from Chris.
Well, understanding that many reactions really do come from past experiences, not only your own, but other people's. So not reacting to other people. It actually helps you understand that people are responding from their model of the world, and you don't know what that is. So it helps if you actually treat that with compassion rather than judgment. And when someone recognizes a trigger, they can actually pause, reflect, and choose to respond differently. So it's that circle of control again. You're in control of how you act, how you react. No one can make you feel anything. And yet we always say, they made me feel so angry. They made me feel this. They made me. And no one can make you do anything. It's your choice. So you are in total control of how you act, react, what you say, what you do. Everything about you, you're in control of.
I think that compassion for others is really important here, because I really feel like, yes, we do have within our circle of control our abilities to heal our traumas, but at the same time, we also don't have it within us to control our triggers and traumas unless we know they're there. So there's this whole dual aspect of compassion that comes in. We can have compassion for ourselves for reacting unconsciously when we understand that we're triggered and we weren't aware of a trigger being there. And we can only extend that to other people when we've done it to ourselves. So there's that. All right, let's hear from Sathiavanni.
From what I'm aware, with what will be transpiring as well, is there going to be any kind of signage or anything like that people have to be aware of? Is in terms of the awakening that is already being orchestrated by the divine individuals during sleep, for them to have their awakenings, each one of them going through their awakenings. It is very much just an inner knowing. So there's not going to be a signage of, in the bigger scheme of things, there isn't going to be this big signage again to sort of cause separation. Okay. there is just that equal unity that is what is going to take place as well.
Yeah, I think dreams and a knowing, when we're at a place where we're used to embodying 7D, it becomes a little bit more automatic, like the healings. They accelerate and there's more of a return to unity and less separation in our thinking. That is for sure. It just becomes a bit more automatic. Thanks for speaking to that, Sathiavanni. Okay, let's hear from Karen.
Well, for, I guess, trauma awareness for ourselves individually, if we're aware, we know of trauma that we've had, maybe we can be gentler with ourselves about what's happening in our daily life, why we might be reacting to something or triggered by something, then treating ourselves more gently, more lovingly, connecting in instead of disconnecting from ourselves. And when we do that, we then can do that with other people, maybe have more of an awareness that perhaps what's going on with someone else is due to trauma. So trauma awareness is a really powerful thing that helps us to be empowered in the way we treat ourselves and others.
Yeah, and you might want to listen to this song too. I wrote about my inner child because I like it. It makes me remind myself of treating myself kindly.
Hello, sweetie. I'm sorry I forgot you. I want to get to know you. I'm curious about you. What makes you scared? What makes you hurt? What makes you happy? What makes you hurt? How do you feel? What do you need? How can I rebuild the bridge between? I wanna love you, I wanna care. I know it's scary when I'm not there. I want you to feel me close in your heart, and to always know we're never apart. You're my inner child, no need to hide. Come out, and let yourself shine. I'm here for you, my cradled heart. Come nestle deep inside. Let's make a brand new start.
So I hope you enjoyed that little snippet of that song. All right, and on to our last question. Can you outline a simple framework for embodying 7D awareness every day? First up, we've got Linda.
I just expect it. I'm just in that mode now that it just, yeah, it'd be strange if they didn't answer me. I'd be like, what's going on? It's not being scared of it too. Some people, when they start, are fearful of what they're going to feel or hear or know. You're not. Imagine the seventh plane is this beautiful, sparkly white light full of unconditional love. So if you're getting anything negative, it is not from the creator. It's not from the seventh plane, for starters. So if you can, put that aside and know that that doesn't happen. But it's you, again, being present, going up to the creator. It's your intention. It's all about intention and your connection. So you use your bit of courage to get that connection, and then you create that stronger bond, and then you're there. But it's you allowing that time, that moment. And it depends what your belief systems are. But if you think about it, it's whoever your thoughts go up to. It doesn't, to me, it's created, it's God. That's to me who that is. But to somebody else, they might have another name for who they go to. It doesn't really matter. And just knowing that the creator is there for them 24/7, but they've got to ask for it. So they've got to put that intent out.
Yeah, my first experience with having any connection to a higher power was when I entered my eating disorder recovery back in 1990. And I just imagined that there was a higher power around me all day one day. I just said, I'm just going to imagine there is one. And the funniest thing happened as I was imagining it, like all day, I felt it. So I think, yes, we need to be open-minded and willing. And also we need to kind of experiment a little and see what feels right for us, because you can't argue with feeling. Like, I couldn't argue with that. It just felt so real. Like, I felt a presence. So yeah, give it a go. Sometimes it's just giving things a go, different things, trying things on for size. Okay, let's hear from Leanne.
A simple framework: ground, cleanse, protect, and connect. Foundations of everything that we do, whether it's in spiritual work, whether it's psychic or mediumship work, or whether it's your personal healing work. So grounding yourself, getting present, getting in the moment, cleansing, clearing anything that's coming up for you. Boundaries are just about putting those, the protection's just about boundaries and putting those in place, about how you will and won't connect. And then connect. Bring the best version of you every day and connect with those that are bringing the best version of themselves every day.
Yeah, and I think just doing a little measurement of where you're at as well is really cool. Like, we have a peace spectrum, like on a scale of 0 to 10, how at peace am I in this moment? And then being willing to receive help on that to get yourself closer to a 10 that day. So I think that's a good little skill too. And in Pieces of Science, we've got like a whole section on tools for your body, for your etheric body, for your astral body, for your mind, and for your higher self, to help bring you back into connection with whatever you need to be working on, so that that 7D awareness is more imbued in your daily life. Lots of tools there. All right, let's hear from Chris.
A practical framework might include self-observation, maybe intentional action, meaningful contribution, and ongoing learning. So none of these require perfection. They simply require awareness and consistency.
I'm going to call it service keeps you in 7D consciousness, because that 12th principle of recovery that I learnt, that having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics or overeaters or other people, and to practice these principles in all our affairs or all areas of our lives. And I think for me, that 12th step is about being connected to the field. It's about the realization that we are not separate beings living a separate existence and not influencing anybody. It is about continuing to acknowledge that connection, and in that connection we also ignite our 7D awareness, and our higher self activates. And if we're not continuing to spread the messages of peace and all the amazing tools that we learn along the way, we get caught in a stagnation trap and an egocentric trap and a narcissistic trap. So rather than wanting all eyes on us for our learnings, it's not about that. It's just more about continuing to spread what we've learned, and to, whether that's to our children, to our partners, to our friends. Oh my gosh, I learned this about this. Or it doesn't have to be formal. It could just be a general sharing. And I think that's very powerful. Service in 7D awareness is key. Thank you, Chris, by identifying that in meaningful contribution. Now let's hear from Sathiavanni.
A simple outline is be true to yourself. Okay. Looking yourself in the mirror every day and ask yourself the question, am I somebody that I would like to be friends with now? Am I somebody who I would love to be in an intimate, emotional, sexual relationship with now? Am I someone that I would really love to work with now? If you got no for any of those things, or whichever way you question yourself, when you look yourself in the mirror, write down why, because that is the key to working through to become the embodiment in that 7D vibration and higher. You're constantly that beautiful evolution in progress. So you have to ask yourself that question, because when you ask yourself that question, you will start to understand why even more there's maybe discord with your partner, or that ordained divine union is yet to take place, because there's still a little bit more work, because everything is of self-reflection, because we are all mirrors to one another. at the moment, right? So that is what embodying is all about, okay? Without any fear at all, and being open to go, right, okay, this is what I'm going to work on more and more and more. Okay, yep, all right, have I got this? And then 2 weeks later, you can ask the same question again. Yes, I do, but you will feel it in every core of your being. You will feel it and go, okay. But keep asking yourself that question every day, all the time. That is the key of living that embodiment, okay? And be open to learn, to grow.
I love that, Sathiavanni. Embodying is allowing ourselves to reflect and be at peace with the mirror of ourselves and how other people see us, and say, oh, well, how can I actually reclaim that for myself and know myself better? And the Inner Child song helped me to put that into words, because I've been teaching that to my clients for many years, around having these conversations with those parts of us inside of us that feel like they've been abandoned or wounded, or they're feeling alone or guarded or fractured, and they don't know how to relate, and they're having a bit of a problem because there's a big guard up, especially for me in my life. I just be putting these guards up in my life. And I think, just that really helps, having those intimate discussions, and that helps us relate better, and it helps us embody our high frequency better, because we're not blocking it out, and we're continually evolving and we're continually learning. I love that answer, that embodying that mirror of ourselves is super important. All right, now lastly, let's hear from Karen on our final question.
For me, my framework for embodying 7D awareness is being very consciously aware of myself from when I get up in the morning. It's setting my day up the way that I want it to flow. And so my practices that I've built on being aware of my breathing, going outside, spending some time in nature. If I'm driving to work, the mornings I'm driving to work, listening to some really beautiful words around being connected into our heart. I do that as I drive to work, and by the time I get to work, I feel in such a heightened, beautiful space. So for me, that's my practice. But anything that people can do that helps them to feel more expansive, more open, softened.
Yeah, I think embodying 7D consciousness in all of our energy centers means really helping ourselves tune in to what those energy centers are saying to us. And that heart space is so powerful. And it just really does connect us very quickly to our 7D consciousness. All our chakras, all our energy centers help us do that. And I really have loved and enjoyed every single tip that we have had today on these practical, there's just so many, it's amazing examples of how we can connect to our 7D awareness. I'm overjoyed and over the moon that I've had this opportunity to share this space with these beautiful, wonderful beings. And next week we are covering a great topic that will help us in our daily lives. And we may have to split the episode up into 2, but I might drop it on the same week so you've got access to all the information, because it's 12 questions, not 5 or 6, and it's on money and 7D consciousness. So we're going to be talking about understanding money in 7D. We're going to be talking about personal abundance and alignment, and we're going to be talking about the societal and collective impacts of money, and also just practical practices on how we can help you to be more aligned and conscious with abundance, and how we can use it as a tool for conscious creation and positive impact. So I hope you can enjoy us. I've really loved it. And I think I'm going to just play my inner child. Yeah, I just probably have already been playing my inner child song again, because it's just so yummy and delicious and beautiful. And I hope you can enjoy it and soak it in and connect with yours today. All right, big love, everybody. Peace in and peace out.
I wanna thank you for showing up and nudging me to fill my cup. I won't forget you even when I'm not as present as I'm now. But if that's a lot, just stay